Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 47 of the Run to Hills podcast. This week, we get the lowdown from Eddie on her recent mountain race. We talked to Mike Jones from Apex Running 2 about his events and hopefully some tips for people taking part in this weekend's Lakeland 50 and Lakeland 100. Before that, come on, Eddie. How's it going?
Hi, Workshop Gary.
Hi, Workshop Gary.
I couldn't help myself. I'm feeling much more perkier now I'm talking to you. I have just whined at you for about 10 minutes about how terrible I still feel. Yes, I did my race. Do you want the whole story? I mean, how long have people got? How long we got?
Well, we got 45 minutes till Mike turns up.
I'll talk about the good stuff, the bad stuff, and the learnings, because I think that's what it's all about.
Oh my goodness.
I had a good taper week, felt amazing. I did my last little fast run, because I always like doing the last session really fast, short, really fast, so you feel like, my God, I'm so fast. Felt amazing. Most amazing I've ever felt. I was ticking along at like 6:30 minute mile pace, like 140 heart rate.
Oh, that's good.
I was like, London Marathon, you gonna get it. So I felt really confident, and then I had a slightly sick child the week before, but you can't, it's fine. I slept in the same bed as him. Fine. It's fine. I won't get it. Anyway, the night before the race, we were quite busy day on Saturday, came back, had my pre-race potato, and I couldn't eat it. I was like, I do not feel good. Anyway, yeah, it's all fine. Went to bed, and then I got the pre-race. I don't know if anyone else gets this. Always get it, however big or small the races. And I've done some mega races, and I've done some just local races like this one, and I still get the same. I cannot sleep the night before.
Yeah.
I cannot. So I wear a Whoop strap now, and it tells you how long you sleep for. And it said I slept for 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Oh,
Eddie. Anyway, the day dawned on the race. Bright. The first day for a long time. So we had no rain the day before, and we had no rain on the day of the race. The week before, it had been apocalyptic.
Yeah.
The whole of the mountain had been washed away, and I was a little bit nervous about the fact that there wasn't going to be any paths. Anyway, we'd had a dry day, so it's all fine. Anyway, I couldn't eat my breakfast, did not feel good. But I forced it down, because that's quite normal, isn't it? You don't feel like a massive bowl of porridge at like 4:30 in the morning. Forced it down, and then I was really ill before the race. We don't need to go into details, but it wasn't good. But I warmed up, and I was like, I think it's just pre-race jitters. I think it's just, I'm just really nervous. I've not done a race. Oh, flies going in my tea. I've not done a race for like 2 years, and you just yourself in a bit of state. It's quite normal for me, a little dramatic. And then, so warmed up, felt okay. We started a couple of K flat around the town. I thought this feels a bit harder than it should do. And then it kicks uphill, and looked at my heart rate. I don't normally wear my heart rate, but I just wanted to this time. So I had a bit of feedback, and it was as high as my horrendous sessions. And I was like, I've got nowhere to go here. I've got nowhere to go. It was 163 within 3K, which is my top tempo, would be like my 3-minute race pace. And I was like, I don't know what to do. What do I do? I was so hot, and it was 7:00 in the morning. And I just felt terrible. And I was like, I'm just going to have to, Tom Evans was in my head. I was like, right, what am I going to do? I just
solve the problem.
Solve this problem. I was like, okay, relax a bit. Let's get up this first climb and see if you're going to feel better, because maybe it's just the nerves and it's just got you really. So got up the first climb, went down the first descent. Nobody overtook me down the first descent. I was like, I was like flying down it with the guys, and then started going up the first really big steep climb, because we pretty much ran up the first hill. Just the last bit was too steep. We started like power hiking up the second height, and I just felt terrible. I just felt awful. My heart rate was so high, but I wasn't breathing.
Had it eclipsed the 163 then? Had it gone higher than the 163?
It had gone higher. My max heart rate was like 178, which is just unheard of.
Oh my
God. But I wasn't like, it was just, I just felt like I had flu, basically.
Yeah,
I just felt like, anyway. So I just was like, well, I just drank my calories. I drank so much Coke.
Yeah.
By the end, I was like, I don't know,
still buzzing.
rave. I'm okay. Keep going. Had 4 gels, one Chia Charge bar at the last climb.
Yeah.
Because it was so muddy. They sent us up the back of this mountain that they made a path. And I'd chosen not to take my poles because I thought I was going to be running so hard I wouldn't need them. But of course, I didn't really. So I really did need them. I could not get up this mud. I was like clawing. I was like taking my nails off trying to claw up this mud. It was literally vertical. It was ridiculous. The man behind him was peeing his pants laughing at me because I could not get up it. So I took a Charge bar. I ate that. And actually, I did start to feel a little bit better. We came up and there was a checkpoint right at the top of the hill when we'd done all the climbing. And then it was like 6K, really steep downhill. No, not 6K, 3K. And I actually thought, if someone said you've got to do another lap, I think I could have rallied myself.
Oh my goodness me.
I was like imagining that's the sort of like pace and the sort of effort that got into that first lap. Oh yeah. So I was really disappointed because I felt, as you know, and the listeners know, I trained really hard for that race. But I didn't train really hard for that race. It was the first little race when I'd done a lot of training, first race back. But there wasn't anything I could do. And actually, we're recording this on Tuesday. Race was on Sunday, and I still haven't eaten a proper meal yet. I definitely am carrying so just glad we're recording this on Zoom, carrying some sort of bug. Still feel rubbish, but I'm really glad that I didn't give up. I persevered because I got, want to do UTMB. I want to do some really long stuff. You're going to go through phases when you feel really terrible and you've just got to go through it. So I kept thinking of all that. I kept thinking, what can I eat? And when I was like, I can't eat anything, I was like, you're just going to have to drink, keep yourself cool, using all those. And it never crossed my mind to give up. Whereas I think old Eddie would have been like, I'm not going to win this. I'm going to do really badly. I'm going to go home in a strop. But I was much stronger, worked through, finished with a smile. And the best bit was seeing my kids.
That was awesome.
So I came down, little story, and then I'll stop talking about it and we'll move on. Came down, it's really steep. It's like a mountain bike track down. The last bit, there was like these volunteers at the top stopping the mountain bikes coming down so you could go down. I looked down, it's a literal vertical drop. I was like, are you joking? My poor toenails.
Oh yeah.
My poor IT bands. I was like, after like what, 8,500 feet climbing. I'm like, oh, no, I don't want to go down there. I came down there, and this guy that had laughed at me going up the mud bank came screaming behind me. And I was like, no, we're not having that. You followed me all the way up that mud bath laughing. I'm going to have it. So I came down into town, and they just sort of loop around town. And I absolutely, I was going so fast that I'm going to pee my pants and going so fast. I've had 3 kids scary. And my mates were like screaming, shouting. I was like, I couldn't look either side. And my boys, they were having, not often, they were having to run full high knee lift.
Yeah.
But with me, anyway, we nailed him. That was all that mattered. My little girl had no interest, and she was on the side eating this massive baguette the size of her face. But that was the best bit. And as we said in the podcast before, they really couldn't care less. They were just happy that Mum was there, and that they saw Mum. They saw me at a checkpoint, and I was like barfing, and Bryn was trying to get me to have some tailwind. And I think that's really cool to see your Mum in that terrible state.
Oh, I don't like that.
And I just carried out. I was like, well, you win some, you lose some, and that wasn't my best. That wasn't my best performance, but it wasn't. But again, I'm very upbeat about it because it wasn't a sign of what I know I can do. I know I can do way better than that.
I think it's great to hear, you had a real kind of rotten day, hasn't put you off. That's in the bank now for if you're feeling a bit miserable on another race.
Nothing is going to be as bad as that 6-hour suffer vom fest. It was fun to feel like that in some ways. My mates are like WhatsApping me going, oh, Eddie, God, that must have been awful. I was like, yeah, but a little bit of me enjoyed it. That like deep, dark suffering that you're like, I was just going to get through it. So onwards, I've got to get my legs moved. I sat on my bike this morning. Wasn't pretty. Did a bit of aqua jogging while the kids have their swim lessons. I'm going to try a jog tomorrow because I've got another race next weekend. We won't go on about that one so much. Bit more running in the next one.
Yeah. Thick and fast, Eddie.
We got to cram them in now. Who knows? Who knows when they'll all be cancelled?
Yeah, that's true.
How are you? There's many miles on Strava.
Eddie, I wish I'd never signed up for this bloody virtual Lakeland.
May I remind you, Gary Workshop, last week when I went, what in the holy name of baby Jesus are you doing this race?
I feel like I've been chasing the miles all week, and I was supposed to run on Sunday, and I put it off. I went to the cinema, had some food in Durham. And then I'm going to run home from Durham, and I got Lisa to pick me up halfway. I was supposed to be filming it it's the Way of the Love. This lovely Durham Cathedral have all these Northern Saints trails, and they go all over the place. And the one that runs through my village is called the Way of the Love. And I think basically, if you're a criminal, you'd knock on the door at Durham Cathedral and ask for sanctuary, and they put something on your back to say you had kind of sanctuary, but you've got to get to Hartlepool quick, smart, and get on a boat and get out. So this is this trail that goes from Durham Cathedral right through Wingate to Hartlepool. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to film it. But I didn't get that far. So I left myself with like 40 odd miles to do in 2 days. And actually, I've checked on the bloody website. I had 3 days to do it, but I thought it would have finished tonight. The challenge would have finished tonight. So anyway, I've done it all by 2 miles, and I'll do that with Rex later on. But yeah, I've not recovered from St. Cuthbert's Way, obviously, and my ankles are sore, everything's sore, I've got no energy. But we've done it. I think I'm 98 point something % through the challenge. I was going to go down to the 50. You could change you could change what you're going to do at any point. But no, we stuck it out. And that's it. After that, that's it now. I'm not going to run. I'm taking my camera with me to the lakes at the weekend. But no, that's it. I'm kaput.
Well, I'll be carrying this podcast. I better pull my finger out a bit in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
No, I'm so happy. Yeah, don't tell me next week you signed up for something, because I'll have to get really cross and bring out the teacher voice.
Well, I've got a Bob Graham round to support on the end of the month, but that kind of signals the end of it all as far as the training is concerned. Then a good rest, regroup, and train for Valencia. That's
and London.
No.
Are you going to do it? I don't want this. Yeah. I'm not training, Eddie, and then you're going to beat me by like 10 minutes.
Oh, I don't know. You're 6
Don't be one of those. Don't be one of those.
100% doing London unless he gets cancelled.
7 minute miles. 7 minute miles. We can do that.
Oh no, it's got to be 2 at the start of the. I need to keep, because I've got these I'd love to do Boston one day, so I think I need to check what the Boston qualifying times are. And then also you probably need to be a good 5-10 minutes under that, because men oversubscribe, especially 40 plus men oversubscribe Boston. So you need to be a bit ahead of the.
Let's look that up. Let's go for that. Unless it's 2:30.
Oh no, it's not going to be that. I think.
No, because I think the women's is like 3:30 for Boston.
Yeah, I think a man's would be 3 hours something, to be honest, especially for my age. But yeah, look at that. Actually, that'd be good. And then definitely do London, but not racing London.
Don't worry, everyone. I'm gonna get in there.
Results. Yeah. So the results for your race, then, Eddie? Tell me, you got any details?
I got my butt kicked. It wasn't too bad. What did I finish? Fifth. I was second for a while.
5th overall or 5th?
No, I think I was 20th maybe overall. 20 in the 20s.
Yeah.
To tell you the truth, I haven't looked at it.
That's
I had a look at the girl that won it, Strava Strats, like next to mine, to sort of look at her. Amazing descending. And I was, I was the first lady with any kids and old.
You've been applying the filters, have you?
If you filter it heavily, I won it. I don't think I could have won it. The girl that won it is really, really fast on the downhill. My mega good downhill runner. And I need another 100K, to be honest. But yeah, steady. I'd say a good start. Let's call it that. Good start.
Yeah.
Race Across Snowdonia.
Yeah. Did you see the pictures for this? My goodness me, it looked epic, and a nice finish on the beach too. So they were blessed with good weather, which might have kind of took its toll actually on the races over the 2 days. Simon Roberts took the overall win.
A good Welsh name, that Simon Roberts.
Yeah. 19 hours, 12 minutes and 46 seconds. So over 2 days, that's good. And then Heather Driscoll, she won day one for the ladies in 15 hours and 57 minutes and 48 seconds. But I'm not too sure why, but Heather didn't go out for day two. But
so was there no women that did day 1 and 2?
No.
Oh, Lord above.
Now, there wouldn't have been many people entered at all.
To be fair. Yeah, 50.
So 50 is quite a low.
Love the multi-day.
I saw it, I'm thinking, yeah, 2022, this looks really good. But I'm a bit lazy.
I saw Kate Rath sent me an email saying we've got slots for this year. Do you want it? I was like, oh, I do want it. But I'm so glad I didn't, because I wouldn't be able to get there now.
But it did look great. Race Across Snowdonia.
This week we're having a little Lakeland 150 focus. And so we thought it was be a good time to catch up with Michael Jones, who's a coach and race director over at Apex Running. He's got a string of podium finishes and is also 2-time winner of the Lakeland 100. So really interesting chat with him all about his race directing and also some top tips for both the Lakeland races.
Today, we're super lucky to have Michael Jones on the show. He's a coach, event RD, podium finisher. Thanks for coming on the show, Mike. I know you've had a super busy weekend, so thanks for giving us and our listeners some time today.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Well done on a successful first running of that race over the weekend. And you're just telling us then that it's about the same sort of feeling as running an ultra, probably more tiring.
It's equally as tiring, but more stressful. I can vouch for that, having done both. But yeah, I'm all good. Just catching up on a bit of sleep with the odd nap now and then, tying things up. The week after an event actually is still quite a lot of stuff to do. You can't just put your feet up straight away. So yeah, still busy, but it's all good.
Because you have to tie up all the loose ends. But then I find this, even if I go away to do a race, you then catch up on everything else, the rest of life that you sort of ignored for the week going into the race and then the week after.
Email inbox is building up a little bit, but I'll get to it.
Oh, we're super grateful for you to come on, and I know you're going to give us some pearls of wisdom about the Lakeland races a little bit later in the interview.
I'd like to go back to the weekend. Actually, it looked like I saw the image on. Oh my goodness me! What's where you track open tracking? I saw the map on that, and it looked amazing. I saw the pictures at the end on the beach. I thought that's like the perfect way to finish a race. I'd love to know a bit more about the race, how you came up with the route.
Yeah, so the event is called Race Across Snowdonia, and it's the third event I launched. The first one, as most listeners might know, was Ultra Trail Snowdonia, UTS. I never really had a business plan beyond that. I never planned to become a multiple event organizer. I just wanted to do UTS and see how it went. After the first UTS in 2018, I did start to think a bit like, this is something I want to take a bit more seriously and try and forge a career out of. And that's when I started to look at other events. And I just thought Snowdonia still seems like an area of untapped potential for quite niche, interesting events that I myself would like to do. So that led to launching a sky running event. That was my second event in 2019. So once those two were off the ground, I started to think about doing something a little bit more different, something that was closer to an adventure. The original idea actually was to do a dedicated mountain marathon type event in Snowdonia every year for various reasons. The main one being the fact that I lack much experience of a participant in mountain marathons. I started to think that's probably not the best thing to do, and I started to come up with this I wanted to do a 2-day event of some sort, and just had this light bulb moment of going across Snowdonia over 2 days really, and that I had the first idea in summer 2019. That's when I started to put the route together and work out the start finish locations and how the event would work. I brought a couple of friends into this sort of just a WhatsApp group chat, and we talked about it. They had a lot of mountain marathon experience. We sort of collaborated a little bit and developed the route and the event format that way. And that's the story of how that event came to be in a nutshell.
Awesome. And did you take in the summits? I know obviously we talk about the Lakeland 100 later. That's basically the passes. Yeah. Would this take you, as high as you can go?
It does visit summits, but you have to. It's quite a lot of distance to cover to get from the north of Snowdonia to the south. It doesn't start right at the very north, I have to admit. That would be Conway Castle. But throughout developing the route, I had to walk this tightrope between making sure that the route was honest to the area, because it is a very mountainous place, but also not make this route an exercise in peak bagging. At one point I did water down the route a little bit, and then omitted possibly one too many summits. So there are points in the route where you go between peaks, if that makes sense. And it's not about visiting as many peaks as possible along the way, because you wouldn't be able to do that in 2 days, really. So
what are the stats for the 2 days? How far and how much climbing?
It's roughly 40 miles a day. The second day is slightly shorter, and in terms of elevation, again, I think in terms of feet and meters, the elevation is about 3,200 meters each day. So they're 2 pretty big days, but if you arrive in good shape, well conditioned, it's manageable in theory when there's not a heat wave.
Would you say, for people sort of looking at this, it's a good first multi-day, or a little bit more experience that needed for that?
It depends on your experience level, really, and what you've done before. If you've done a couple of 100 milers, maybe you're used to being out on your feet for a long time, then I don't think you'd have trouble with this. But if the most you've done is maybe a 50 miler, I'd suggest maybe doing a mountain marathon beforehand, because the beauty of mountain marathons is you have different classes and different distances and stuff. So that would give you a bit of experience of being on your feet for two consecutive days first, without such a long course each day. The drawback is a mountain marathon, you have to carry all your overnight camp stuff as well, so it's much more emphasis on being self-sufficient for a longer period of time.
And what's the so you've done day one, what's the kind of home comforts available?
I knew you were going to ask, what's the snacks?
Snacks, it's fairly basic. I had a bit of an issue this year with trying to find a caterer. Unfortunately, with COVID, there's a lot of catering companies, and they're just so busy with postponed weddings and things like that. And I think I asked for a total of 4 cafes and catering companies local to Snowdonia, but in the end, didn't actually find anyone, unfortunately. But as a minimum, we offered hot water at the overnight camp, and we transport people's bags, so you can tuck into whatever food you want at the end of the day. Hopefully that's something we'll have rectified for next year and have a proper caterer on board again when things are a bit more normal in the world. In terms of snacks, we have a support point as well. We can drop your support point bag at checkpoint 5, which is about halfway through each day. And then at checkpoint 8, we have some drinks and stuff just to keep people moving, basically.
I was just thinking then that this would be a great lead up if you're doing Dragon's Back, because it's perfectly positioned and
like acutely aware of not wanting it to look like that, but
but there's not a lot of races out there that are covering on this sort of terrain over a multi-day for people to get that sort of experience and see if they like it and stuff. So really exciting.
The Dragon's Back used to be every May, I think. They've changed that now to no, it was every other May, wasn't it? Now it's just through pure coincidence they've moved to an annual September event. So if you were preparing for that, Race Across Snowdonia would give you a good taste of that. A few people entered this inaugural event are doing the Dragon's Back, so it'd be interesting to get their feedback as to how that helped. One guy I coach actually is doing Dragon's Back race. He just did Race Across Snowdonia. It's giving him a big eye opener into the sort of overnight admin kind of thing, and
exactly
work to get that tightened down a bit before September.
And what's that? I'm curious about the overnight admin. Would you be are you pitching tents, and it's like, say, a Marathon des Sables situation where or do the runners kind of pitch their own tents?
The runners have to bring their own tent, and we transport that for them. We did at one point consider buying some tents, to have 6 to 8 people in, but we think we just thought, because it's just the one overnight, if you're doing that day after day, it does become a bit of a faff. But just for one night, I think it's okay to ask the runners to bring their tent in, pitch that up themselves.
One night, they'll be fine.
Yeah,
Second night, you might get a few sad faces when they go to the tent bag.
Yeah. I've done a couple of multi-day events, and Great Lakes 3-day, and it's not too bad. You like putting your tent up for 1 or 2 nights yourself. You've got your own privacy as well, and your own little space.
Can we now talk a little bit about your other events that you sort of touched on at the beginning of the podcast? And they've now been granted the Ultra Trail World Tour title. Could we say that? And Skyrunner World Series. How did that come about, and how has it sort of changed your organisation of the races? And can you tell us a little bit more about that? Yeah.
So my motivations for UTS originally was I spotted what I felt was a bit of a gap in the UK events market for an ultra
huge gap.
Like more international and outward looking. By that point, I'd participated in the Lakeland 1500 events, I think 4 times, and maybe it was a bit of the athlete's ego getting to me, but it bothered me that people in Chamonix or the other international elites that didn't really know too much about the UK scene up to that point. I took a lot of influence from competing in other Ultra Trail World Tour events. I came up with this idea of trying to create something similar to that in the UK. Would it be possible? So that was I kept it quite quiet because I didn't want to be banging on about how I was going to launch this huge event or anything, but in the back of my mind, that was like the goal by year 3 to 5 was to become part of the world tour with UTS, and to have what I felt like was a more international event in the UK.
Yeah. Does it put a bit more pressure on your organising? Do they sort of have a number of boxes that you have to tick? And
there's certain things we have to do, like quartz, anti-doping controls, and a couple of other things. But generally, it's not overbearing in any way. It's okay, really. Yeah.
Gary wants to know: is the prize money involved?
The Ultra Trail World Tour don't stipulate that you have to provide any prize money unless you are one of the higher tiers. So there are 4 tiers of Ultra Trail World Tour event. So UTMB is at the top, and then little old me is a 500-point event, and I don't have to provide prize money. It's something I'm currently assessing for this September's postponed event. I think to do prize money, really, you have to offer 4 figures for first place, and if you have 3 event distances, it adds up very quickly. The 100-kilometer event is the Ultra Trail World Tour counter event, so I don't know if maybe I'd offer more prize money for that, or then it's a bit unfair on the 100-mile runners because they've ran further and stuff. So I'm weighing up a lot of things at the moment.
Sounds like a headache.
I want to be in his shoes.
Yeah, as a race organizer, you have to think honestly about what from a commercial perspective, what the benefits are to the event of offering prize money. Some people think that will attract more elites, but UTS this year has a really solid elite lineup anyway, and particularly UK runners. They don't, the top men and women don't tend to be influenced too much by prize money. They do events because it's a course or something about the event that they really want to do. So I don't know. I think if you offer too much prize money as well, people start to question, like, are you trying to make up for something, or that kind of thing. So
So what's next for Apex Running? Is there any events that are still available to enter?
I have 3 left this year. The UTS is been postponed to the 10th to the 12th of September. There's still entries available for that. And there, 3 weeks later, there's the Snowdon Skyline event, which is also been postponed. And 2 weeks after that, there's a new event, the Slate Trail Ultra, and loads of entries left in that. So it's going to be, that's 3 events in 5 weeks, which is stressing me out a little bit, but yeah.
I got quite a few of my clients to sign up to your Snowdonia race because that would go to do UTMB. Yeah. And then when it got to like a couple of weeks ago that like we start our UTMB training and then you could like defer on that Monday. And I was like, look, you can go and do this, you can train and this won't be cancelled and you're going to get a similar experience as you can do to UTMB probably anywhere in the UK, and we can do a UTMB training block and you can do this and you will do better at UTMB by deferring that entry. So thank you. Thank you. Sad people that are going to not. And thank goodness they did, because now with all the quarantine, it was definitely the right decision.
Yeah, I was entered to CCC myself, but I've postponed that for similar reasons. And yeah, I've noticed quite a few people have entered because they've done similar thing. They've decided to play it safe this year and postpone the UTMB entry and jump into UTS. So that's cool.
We'll pop a link in the show notes, Mike. But what is the your website URL for kind of people to find out about your races?
apexrunning.co, just .co.
Should we talk a bit about Lakeland 100 and Lakeland 50?
So we're going to put this out, Mike, the day before. Well, the Thursday, aren't we?
No, I'm hopefully going to get it if I get my. I was going to swear there. If I get myself together, it'll be out tomorrow. But
okay. Oh, cool.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, give people a few days to digest it, hopefully.
On their journeys, as they're sweating with their feet on the dashboard, going, "It was meant to be a 3-hour journey. We've been in the car for 7 hours, and I'm so dehydrated. It's all over. The kids are screaming. I've double booked the Airbnb." I
saw on social media, and their hotel had cancelled their accommodation, which was a damaged room was the reason given, but my goodness me, that's pretty stressful. But as much as you can control the controllables, that's my tip for them. But yeah, between the three of us, Eddie's 50, I've done the 100, you've won it twice. I think when you won it, you were finished about 5 hours ahead of me. Not that I've looked at your times or anything, but yeah. If you could give top 5 tips to somebody that they're racing this weekend. Hopefully, my goodness me, hopefully they're trained and fit and ready to toe the line. What would you share with people?
There's a couple of things I wanted to cover. Like the route itself, you can kind of break it down into 3 thirds. The first third is very hilly, the middle third is a bit flatter and more runnable, and then the last third is very hilly. Do consider pacing yourself so that second third you can maintain a good run on the flat sections. You don't want to go out too hard so that you're really flagging and having to walk up shallow gradients. So I would take it easy at the start so that you can pace yourself a bit stronger through that middle third. There's quite a lot of road before you get to Dalmain House, and then just bear in mind that the job's far from done by the time you get there. So that's pacing. It looks like it's going to be a hot one, so I would definitely think about not just hydration but also keeping yourself wet. Any streams you cross, get yourself in that. The wetter you are, the less your body's going to lose in sweat, because that'll essentially be doing what your sweat's going to be doing. Most runners' packs, they tend to just carry like 2 500ml flasks, don't they? And some of the checkpoints, you're going to be quite, if you're moving slowly, you could be several hours between the checkpoints. So in these conditions, I definitely consider taking a hydration bladder as well, and also really having a good look at what's on the food list at each checkpoint, so that you can think a little bit more about relying on the food that's available there, so you don't have to carry as much weight in gels. When I've done Lakeland before, I was a bit fussy about carrying all my own food and stuff, and that's a lot of weight to carry to Dalmain House. Just do a bit of research on that front. Myself, I used to, when I was racing for Lakeland as well, make a spreadsheet of timings and stuff and try and break down how many calories I need to carry per hour and what that means in terms of what I'll need to carry in my pack between each checkpoint and fueling and stuff as well. I think that's the main thing. For a 100 mile, that's definitely one of the more important things that will dictate your success. Yeah.
What do you do, Mike, if that nutrition goes wrong? And if it all goes wrong quite early on in the race, which I think is when a lot of people panic?
Yeah. Well, I tell this to myself, well, I used to when I was racing, I tell it to people I coach as well. A plan is great, but in ultras, very rarely do things go to plan. So just don't panic if it all starts to go out the window. I've always struggled with sickness when it's hot. I've lost count of the amount of times I've ended up being sick, and I've worked out what that was for me. It was not keeping on top of my hydration and sodium intake and stuff. But yeah, if things start to go wrong on that front, just be aware that as long as you've got the time in the bag when arriving to at a cut-off, even if it takes an hour or even 2 hours, things like dehydration can be reversed, and all it boils down to then is how badly do you want to finish. If you're absolutely desperate to cross that finish line, then if you're patient and you keep moving, that finish line can come. So yeah, I would just try and relax, and everyone goes through low points in a race, even the front runners. We all have times when we're bent over double, dry heaving in the bushes and stuff, and yeah, you have to just cling on to that hope that when you feel like you're at the bottom of the barrel, it will eventually go back up, and just remind yourself of that.
Do you do things like would you be banking sleep before the event?
100 miler, yeah. I would force myself to have some early nights, definitely. And some lie-ins and stuff when I was racing. I didn't have a proper job or anything, so I could do that, which was quite nice. But yeah, I think Lakeland 100 starts is at 5 o'clock-ish on Friday, and yeah, try and have a nap in the morning and stuff. And it's easier said than done when you're all full of nerves and stuff, though.
And would you typically travel on the day?
I've travelled up on the morning in 16 and 17, I think. Yeah. The first 100 miler I did was 2014 at Lakeland 100. It was very hot that year as well, and I lived locally to the area, which was quite nice. So quite fortunate, yeah. But I think, well, having said that, I only now live 2 hours away from the lake, so that's not too much of a drive up. But if you're further afield, I think it's definitely good to travel up on the Thursday, so that Friday morning you can stretch your legs a little bit, and yeah, you don't want to be rolling onto the start line like after a 6-hour drive.
Straight from TV.
No, yeah.
Well, this was one of my tips. I remember 2017 just being stuck on the 66 in the enormous traffic jam, and just my stress was through the roof. And we got there in the campsite and everything, and we parked up and all. It was fine in the end, but yeah,
I think the same year there was traffic on the M6, and I think I just almost missed registration. It was a bit stressful.
Yeah, if you got the luxury, listeners, set off 2 hours earlier if you have that, if you get the time off work. I really like what you said about the checkpoints, checking out what food is available. Some races, they tell you what's on the checkpoints, and you get there and it's not actually what's on the checkpoints. But from my experience with the Lakeland 100, the checkpoints are amazing, and you can rely on it. And like Mike said about, it reduces potentially the need to carry gels. Some people, they don't want to risk what's on checkpoints and they want to carry all the gels, and that's their decision. But like personally, similar to yourself, I'd kind of do the maths, and if things were going well per hour, then I'd carry that amount of energy with a few hours backup, and then rely on the kind of checkpoints. And yeah, I don't remember one checkpoint that was disappointing. They're all pretty good.
That's high praise. What about the navigation, Mike? You probably knew the course really well, but I imagine that a lot of people are quite nervous about the nav. Any top tips?
Yeah, like I said, I lived local to the area, so even before 2014, I'd recce'd the whole route pretty well, which was obviously very beneficial. But having said that, there's one section which I think in 2017 I took a wrong turn, and it's come, is it Fusedale, the It's before you drop down to Mardale Head. It's quite featureless, and I was following the GPX trace on my watch, and then my watch battery died. So yeah, it's an unmarked course. It can be problematic, but most of it's very, very easy to follow if you're just diligent and reading the way, what's it called, the foley that they give you. It's got, that's
I
really
think
good.
keeping that handy as well. I remember when I just put it in my backpack. I was like, I don't need that, and I was just telling Gary I got really lost, and then I had to like find it, and it was all sweaty, and I couldn't really read it, and the dog got wrong. So I think keeping it somewhere where you can get it out is just like that's so simple. But lots of people would be like just going to rely on your watch, and don't just rely on your watch and know where you are. Especially in the night, keep in where you can like go into that lovely zone of like just trotting along. I think you have to, you can't trust that there's going to be, you have to sort of make sure that you've marked out like, okay, I know what am I heading to next? And if you think you've gone wrong, stop and go back, regroup. Have something to eat and regroup.
Yeah, I was just going to say, relying on the GPX that you get from an event, there can be a huge difference in the quality of the GPX files. Sometimes the points can be a lot further away on some, and you look at it on your watch and it doesn't really correlate to where you are, on the ground. So it's not the best strategy.
I do normally go back and tidy it up. Actually, if I've got time, I'll go back and edit the file on Garmin. Do you have a favorite part of the route?
I really like the Ennerdale Valley section. That's usually where I try and get to there before it's going dark, and you go past Black Sail Hut, and it just got a real nice wild feel to it. It's quite a technical descent to get down there, and by that point I've kind of known if I'm going to have a good race or not. But yeah, it's just that's that's right, but before that section and into Buttermere, those three valleys, Wasdale, Ennerdale and Buttermere, is just I just love
the way
that.
it all ends up just like that bit. Where's that bit go? And where does that bit go? It all just you just remember the happy memories. Are you a mantra person, Mike? Do you like have a saying or something that you repeat to yourself, or do you have somebody that you think about when the going gets tough?
I used like my mum died when I was 20, and I think a lot about that kind of stuff. I know now, going back a few years, when I was racing at my best, I was kind of subconsciously processing quite a lot of grief. Like I was able to go to some pretty dark places, basically. And I just felt like I could bury myself more than everyone behind me. There's definitely been people and things that are in my life that I think of or thought of when I was racing. In terms of mantras, I don't have any mantras really. I like to think of like my breathing and stuff, things like that, to just try and keep myself in the present. Really, it's hard. In an ultra, it can be really easy for your mind to wander, and that's when, if you're racing for the win, that's not good, because you start to lose your focus. So there's various things that have developed over the years that help me keep me focused, really.
I think that's a good tip. It's easy, like you say, it's easy to drift sometimes. Just through the week when I was doing this in Cuthbert's Way, if I took my mind off it for more than 5 minutes, all of a sudden I'd be going a lot slower than what I wanted to.
It can affect things like, your nutrition and stuff. Like I've had races where I start to zone out completely and then realise I haven't eaten or drunk much for like 2 hours. So another little tip is I used to have an alarm to buzz every 20 minutes on my watch, just to remind me to eat or drink something and just get something down me, basically, instead of waiting to feel hungry or feel in the right mood to eat. That's not the way you should be functioning in a race.
That is a great tip, actually. If anyone's got a watch that you can set an alarm, I do exactly the same.
You can now. I think on all watches they've got eat, drink alert, haven't they?
But with a trail run especially, don't set it to miles, because a mile could be 20 minutes on a trail race, and definitely I would do that. It's a little nudge. You might not feel like it, and you might also think, so you watch beeps and you think, okay, I've got Fusedale coming up, I'll maybe eat in 25 minutes while I'm going up the kind of power hike. But if you can put a little reminder on your watch every 20 minutes to 30 minutes, however much you can tolerate food. And sometimes, it's a nice little break that your watch beeps and you think, oh, there's another Mars bar going in or something like that. What about you, Eddie? Top tip from you?
I liked that stay in the moment. And often I think when it gets really dark and horrible and you don't want to be there and you start having this inner tantrum, I think about the trail tomorrow. And I think this is so in the moment that we're all on this trail. Everybody's suffering. And I think we can be really selfish as ultra runners and think we're the only person in the world feeling like this. But everybody from the front to the back of the pack is going to be hurting.
Yeah.
Just remind yourself that you are not bigger than anything. You are a tiny speck on this trail. And tomorrow there'll be nobody on this trail. It'll all be quiet again. It's such a small moment in your life. And think about yourself tomorrow and how this little bit of suffering for this day, tomorrow you can glory in that forever, than tomorrow if you stop and you've got to live with that stopping. And everybody who's ever DNF'd for no other reason than a little bit of a niggle, but in the end it was just really too hard, they'll always go the next day, I was just... And often people are raging for them like years, aren't they? I like try and keep it like, get some perspective on it and just stay in that moment.
Enjoy it.
We've all been going like, oh, when it's really horrible. Oh, when it's really horrible. Enjoy it.
For me personally, on the 100, like what you reinforce what Mike said, don't go too fast. You can go flying into Seathwaite. And personally, I think I've done my quads in then already.
Well, you see people going up that first climb in the 100. And really, if you're not Mike or Jason Cavill or someone like that, don't break a sweat, man.
Well, there's a few gates up there. So if you don't want to get stuck with a kind of big queue.
Well, this is where it goes wrong, Gary. You're already racing to the gate.
It's coming off. I remember seeing Jason Cavill. And I thought, oh, I'm here with Jason, and Paul Nelson was around. I'm thinking I'm going really well. And then I just came off the bottom of Seathwaite and I just felt a little bit of numbness in my legs. And that came to bite me on the bum in Mardale at big time. And also what I'd say, and this isn't a tip, but don't be scared to fail. Take your shot. Have a go. If you've got a goal, put yourself out there. We've already discussed, nobody cares if you fail, apart from you. So yeah, take your shot. Don't be scared.
Take a smile and say thank you to everybody. Everybody on the trail, everybody at the checkpoint, anybody you pass, a little thank you. And it makes you feel better, doesn't it? A little smile. A little smile.
Kipchoge does the smile.
His is more grimace, is it?
Reduces the perception of pain, apparently, the smile.
I've never found that. I really tried to smile on Sunday and I just ended up, I think I was frightening small children.
Cool. I appreciate that, Mike. Yeah, what have you got coming up?
I only had the CCC entered this year. At the moment, I'm not entered into anything else. My priority at the moment is my own events over the coming weeks. I did briefly flirt with the idea of attempting the Paddy Buckley round, but realistically, I don't think I'll be able to get myself in shape to do that in the next 6 to 8 weeks. So I don't know. I'd like to do something this autumn, definitely. Once my events are out of the way and I can relax a little bit, I'll see what's available sort of late October, November time. Yeah.
Cool.
Do you manage to keep running while you're doing all these events, or does it really take a back seat?
Only in fits and starts nowadays, unfortunately. It's funny, I always laugh about this. In 2017, I was training 20 hours a week or so, and I was trying to think about how I could make a living for myself and sustain that lifestyle. And I thought, I'll set up an event and I'll be able to, do a bit of coaching and I'll have loads of time to train. But it didn't quite work out that way. But no regrets so far. But
yeah, the podcast that'll eat up your time.
Yeah. Well, it's been mentioned I should have a UTS podcast, but there's only so many plates I can spin.
Send them our way, Mike. Send them our way.
Will do. Yeah.
Right, we're going to finish with our quick fire questions. They're deep. Take your time. I'll ask them quickly. Real ale or lager?
It depends on how hot it is. A lager right now, definitely.
A lager to take the thirst off, and then a real ale chaser.
Yeah.
That sounds fun. Worst injury?
Um, on the whole, I've been fairly lucky, but I always used to, and well, still do struggle with lower leg stuff. I've not like snapped anything or done anything too bad. So touch wood. Yeah, just inflammation thing, niggles that most runners experience. So I think when I did my Bob Graham round, I'd only been running less than a year, and I had a really bad knee injury from that, but realised what caused that and rectified it. So I'd say that was the only thing that really affected me for months.
Super strong, super resilient. Yeah. Person you'd most like to go for a run with?
I don't know. To be honest, I'm a bit of a loner when it comes to running. I like to just run on my own.
I think you can say that.
Yeah, it's a good question, though. I wanted to say Killian Jornet, but I don't know. He might be a bit boring. Maybe someone a bit more, one of the American fun guys.
Zach. Yeah. I think someone like Zach Bitterus. They always look like they're having a really good time.
Yeah.
That crazy Norwegian guy that keeps winning all the Golden Trail series. They all look quite French guys. They look quite wild.
Yeah, someone who
banter. What's your favourite song?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
Top 10. Yeah. Doesn't matter. Any. It's an impossible question.
Yeah, I didn't see that one coming. I don't know. There's been loads throughout my life at any one point.
Do you listen to music when you're training?
Sometimes, yeah.
Hardcore house, rave.
More
of Brian Adams.
I've got an eclectic mix in taste in music, actually. Anything from hardcore punk and metal to house and German techno and stuff.
I knew it.
I found the common theme is it tends to have a lot of energy to it.
Eddie's got a low bar. Will Young.
Yeah, I'm not too into pop and stuff, but when I'm driving around, I tend to listen to classic FM just to chill out a bit. So yeah, that's where the range is for me.
I won't share my playlist with you then. Last question: Jason Bourne or Ethan Hunt?
In what are we talking about? Man crushes?
One, you just choose one.
I haven't even heard of the second one.
It's the Bourne series or Mission Impossible. Tom Cruise or what's it called? Matt Damon. There you go.
Yeah, as you can tell, I don't watch many films, to be honest. So I think I watched Mission Impossible when I was a kid and enjoyed it. So yeah, I'll go with that.
Cool.
Quite small though. I think Tom Cruise in real life, I think you'd be towering over him.
He's 5'6". Nothing small about that.
Sorry, Gary. So you're 5'1".
That's awesome, Mike. I really appreciate your time. I'm sure our listeners will do too, and all the 1,500 runners. Yeah, hopefully we'll give you something that's that will help you through the day.
Yeah, I was meant to be there myself at Mardale Head volunteering, but I unfortunately have a little recce event of my own in Snowdonia. So I'll definitely be following the trackers and wish everyone the best of luck. It's a great event with an atmosphere that's second to none. The volunteers and everything about it's so special. And I wish I was there.
Awesome. Cool.
Thank you so much, Mike.
No problem. Thank you. Thanks for having me. Cheers.
Take care. Thanks for coming on, Mike. Great to see a successful race over the weekend, and good luck for the future. So what have we got coming up this weekend, Eddie? Big one over the lakes, Lakeland 50 and Lakeland 100. Lots of friends of the show, guests of the show taking part. I'm going to make my way over there too for a trip with the family, but I probably won't say them very much. I'm going to go, actually.
It's not an easy spectator, apart from like Ambleside is actually not a very easy spectator.
Well, that's where we stay in Ambleside, luckily. But on the way over, I'm going to kind of divert into Pooley Bridge and hopefully catch the 50 start and then see them on the way to Howtown. That's my plan. And then maybe if I'm on the tracker and get lucky, catch friends as they pass through Ambleside. But what also I might do, kind of my YouTube channel that I have with kind of filming all the Bob Graham round routes. But because I'm going to be doing the Lakeland 100 next year, if I get in actually, I thought I'm going to kind of film some of the routes, but kind of I've been looking at the stuff that John did that you've shared on the Facebook group, but maybe a bit different to what John did, and do it in kind of one-to-one real time. So it's exactly the route. There's no kind of pauses, cuts. It's just so yeah, it's going to be kind of like it's like War and Peace. It's going to be
holiday.
Yeah. So
you lucky kids.
I know. Well, no, I'll get up early. I'm only going to plan on doing Kentmere to Ambleside, and then Ambleside to, oh, goodness me.
Where are you going to go to?
It's the checkpoint after Ambleside.
Seathwaite or before that?
No, it's not Seathwaite. Whatever it is, the one that's after Ambleside, I forget. So yeah, just nothing too massive. I'm not going to get up and go driving all kind of.
To the one in the campsite where they have the lights.
That's the one. Yeah.
Everyone's going to be shouting at us.
I know, yes. And then we've also got, which is local to me, the East Durham Coast Half Marathon. It's my closest trail race, and I've never done it, Eddie. Shameful.
I'm speechless. Well, you're probably always up in Lake District that weekend.
I've helped out. I've spectated a few times, but yeah, well, this is it. I was supposed to be marshalling, and I double booked myself, so I couldn't marshal, which is a bit naughty of me, double booking myself. But it's a great route along the kind of coastal trails near where I live, which are transformed recently. Well, not recently, but since the mines have closed, it used to be just a horrendous coal, kind of black coastline. They filmed one of the Alien films there, Get Carter, any dreary landscape they wanted. They went to East Durham.
They went to Gary's house.
Yeah. But, since the mines closed, and they've kind of cleaned up quite nicely. It's a lovely part of the coastline, and what you do, it's very popular with people who collect sea glass. I'm going to have a little bit of a ramble here. Sunderland was very famous for its this glass production, and I can only imagine they must have just tipped all the rejects into the sea. I think that's what they did.
And then the sea churns it, doesn't it? And then it makes this beautiful soft.
All beautiful colours, really soft.
Are you allowed to collect it? Isn't it illegal?
Oh, I think it's fine. I see them all on sea and beach collecting the glass. It's,
it must be just the glass. I know that lots of beaches now, you're not allowed to take the stones away, are you?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I suppose this is artificially introduced, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Glass. So, yeah, good luck, everybody.
We should say a special good luck to Hannah Basley, my coaching client, who we have been working together since January. She has worked her socks off. What a transformation, not only in her running. I mean, as with all clients, I always say, look, you could have done that yourself, but it takes a lot of, as you know, motivation and real honesty to a plan to be able to do that yourself. But she has trained her behind off, and she's come across a lot of hurdles, and it's not been usual times for anybody, but she's had to really work hard to fit all the training in around her job and her family. So I'm so proud of her. Whatever happens on the day, I'm so proud of her. She has not missed a session in 6 months.
She ran well. The recce that we did together, she had a good day there. No worries for Hannah whatsoever.
No worries. She's just got to believe in herself, and one foot in front of the other. Keep eating, keep drinking, and smiling. And I hope she has a great day. Best of luck, Hannah, from everybody at Run to the Hills.
Yeah, good luck. So what have we got come up, Eddie, this week?
Well, I'm going to try and just reintroduce my IT bands to a little bit of flexion. Going to do a lot of Pilates. Big fan.
Try and eat a meal.
Slow on the priorities right now. I might head down to Carrefour and get some more yogurt in a little bit. Get the calories back on board, lots of stretching, lots of mobilization. And I might try a jog tomorrow. Depends. It's really dangerous line, isn't it? When you've really, obviously I had to dig really deep and use all my inner resources to finish that race without any energy, and then another 48 hours not putting any energy into the tank. I don't want to start taking any out when I'm still not 100%. I say all this, you're going to see me on Strava tomorrow.
Crushing it.
Easy 2 hours. So yeah, I will try. Few more days recovery. I've got another race next weekend, not this weekend, next weekend, and then another race afterwards. So I just be like training, few little jog outs, bit of climbing, bit of descending.
What's the race this weekend? Sorry,
it's next weekend.
Oh, next weekend.
It's called Majev Trail. It's shorter. I think it's 30k, and it's only 1,900 meters of climbing.
Only.
I mean, that round here is that's a dream. Bit more running, a lot more running for Eddie. There's really nice runnable descents too. So that's party time. And then the week after, I'm doing a 40K, which goes past my house.
Ooh,
No
okay.
excuses. No. And it's all uphill. It's pretty much all uphill. You start down in town and you finish up in Avoriaz, which is about 2,500 meters above us. So all just getting stronger. Just getting stronger, Gary. So
Yes.
yeah, just trying to stay alive for the next few days.
Brilliant.
And I'll be following Lakeland, wishing you all
The dots.
a great day out.
I can't wait for the bit dot watching. What have I got coming up? Oh, easy miles. I think when my ankles stop hurting.
Could you rest? Would you have a whole week off? Oh, your face. You know this, that you will not lose anything by having a week off. You will gain. Man, you will gain by giving yourself, you still move. You've got to remember, and everybody listening, that movement and training, they work quite nicely alongside each other. If you sat on your butt for a week, when you got up, you'd probably ping your hamstring because you're so old and everything would have. But if you keep moving, you walk the dog. But if you didn't run for a week, if a week sounds too scary, give yourself 3 days. 2 days, you're going to feel better. A third day, you're going to feel so much better. What's going to happen?
Well, 100%. I'm not going to run until the weekend. And I will only do those easy virtual runs I was chatting about. So yeah, Tuesday.
Wait, have you run today?
I did run today, yeah.
So you had a massive run this morning. I know, I've seen it.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So I've got 3 days of no running, and then I'll do 2 easy runs over the weekend. And then I probably won't run maybe towards the end of next week, just to make sure I've got my legs can move before Sean's Bob Graham round attempt. But yeah, easy, no structure, just go with the flow. I just want my ankles to stop hurting. That's the main thing at the moment. But yeah, nice and easy.
Nice and easy. He says that next week. Oh, I saw a mate and we ended up doing half the Lakeland route.
Oh, don't say that.
You'll be fine. Gary, it seems that people really like listening to our twittering. We are zooming up the charts, not just my mum. I don't even think my mum knows I do a podcast, to be fair. Not just my mates listening. So if you like it, if you listen to it, tell other people. Keep us in this employment. Link, follow, subscribe, all those things on all those different channels. And if you really like it, you can join in our competition. What's it, Gary?
We've got a few days left. We're going to draw it on the 27th. So we're hopefully going to get this show out a bit early because of the Lakeland 150. But basically the competition is you head over to YouTube, you watch the show, hopefully on YouTube, and you comment in the comment section with just the word Chia Charge. Actually, yeah, you've got to subscribe to the channel too. That would be quite nice if you did that. And that's that. On the 27th, we will pick a winner at random, and the winner will get a box of Chia Charge goodies. So thank you very much, everybody. It's really great. I'll pop onto the YouTube studio like a nerd, a geek, whatever it is. And I see, we've got half a dozen more subscribers. It's fantastic.
We've almost got 10.
Yeah. I'd be really curious, when you hit the magic 1,000 with YouTube, and if you've done so many watch hours, you can have the chance to monetize your channel. So you can earn some pennies from YouTube.
The big bucks, the new skis, they're coming.
Well, we'll see. I think you need Mr. Beast type subscribers. He's
what's like millions, I guess.
Oh yeah, these the big. Are they influencers? Is that what they call these guys? But
are we not influencers, Gary?
No.
Do you think I need to start wearing some makeup if we're going to be influenced? Maybe
I have no influence in my own home. Yeah, I'll do my hair. Something like that. But yeah, my goodness me, these the big channels, millions of subscribers. It's quite frightening. But yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there one day.
That was episode 47 of Run to the Hills. Go smash it at Lakeland, everybody. I'm Eddie Sutton.
And I'm Gary Thwaites.
And let's run to the hills.